sister, Kathleen Allen. Shock thundered through Courtney's entire being, rendering her frozen and paralyzed for a moment. "Why?" she finally managed to croak. Tears welled up in her eyes, threatening to spill over. "Brandon, how could you?" Her no-good fiancé, Brandon Smith, sat up on the bed, his face displaying a mix of guilt and indifference after being caught in the act. But he quickly shook off the feeling of remorse and breathed a sigh of relief instead. He had already been planning to break off the shitty engagement with Courtney for a while now, but he was too chicken-hearted to bring up the discussion. Perhaps her finding out like this was for the better. He finally met her gaze, his expression hardening. "Courtney, you've been extremely unexciting lately. As dull as a corpse. I'm sick and tired of you. So it's best if we break up." His cruel words struck Courtney like a dagger to her heart. Her eyes widened in complete disbelief. How? How could you say that to me? After everything we've been through, you're the one who proposed to me. You promised me a future together, and I trusted you. Brandon's expression remained cold and indifferent, his tone devoid of pity or even guilt. "I'm sorry, Courtney. I should never have proposed to you in the first place. Kathleen is the one I truly love, not you." Courtney's hand instinctively clutched at her chest as if trying to calm the physical ache and emotional torture she was experiencing. The betrayal felt even more painful for her as it came from someone she considered family, her very own flesh and blood. My own sister?" Courtney's voice cracked as she glanced briefly at her younger sister. Kathleen has been silently watching their exchange with keen interest while wearing a cruel, triumphant smirk. "Oh, come on, Courtney. It's not my fault Brandon loves me. He finally realized just how boring you are. You were never good enough for him to begin with. I've always been the one he desired." Kathleen's voice dripped with satisfaction, delighting in the pain she had caused. Courtney's expression turned into rage and disgust now. It was not the first time Kathleen was doing something like this to her, so she wasn't in any way surprised. Flashbacks of their high school years flooded her mind. 8 years ago, when they were ages 16 and 15, Kathleen intentionally dated a boy she liked and kissed him in front of the entire school. This happened less than a week after Courtney revealed him to be her crush. The sisters grew very distant ever since then. And now Kathleen did it again. Not with a mere crush, but with her beloved fiancé with whom she had already begun to plan a grand wedding. The invitation cards had already been sent out to friends and well-wishers. Even her gorgeous and exquisite wedding gown has already been custom-made and sent over by her favorite designer. Her dream wedding dress, which she wouldn't be able to wear anymore. Tears trickled down her face freely as the height of their betrayal weighed in. Kathleen grinned wickedly, taking pleasure in Courtney's agony. Her eyes glinted with malicious joy as she noticed Courtney's tears. "You know, sis, he was eager to taste what he was missing all these years. And let me tell you, he found it with me." Courtney felt humiliation gushing within her. She wanted to scream, to lash out at both of them for their cruelty, but she couldn't find the words. The betrayal was too overwhelming, but she managed to ignore Kathleen's wounding insults and turned her attention back to Brandon. The man she had once thought was her soulmate was now a total stranger with a cold heart. A heartless and selfish bastard. "Brandon, you've shown me your true colors as a despicable person. Just know that your actions have destroyed the love I had for you, and I'm calling off our wedding. Enjoy." Without sparing another glance at either of them, Courtney turned away and shot the bedroom door behind her with a bang. She clutched her chest as if trying to physically hold the pieces of her shattered heart together. Hot tears streamed down her face as she stumbled down the staircase. Her legs felt weak, but she pushed forward, determined to get away from this nightmare. With every step she took, the pain intensified, making it hard to breathe. She was heartbroken, and her trust shattered to pieces. She couldn't help but question her worth, wondering if indeed she was as boring and unexciting as Brandon and Kathleen had claimed. Everyone knew she was an introverted person, unlike her sister who craved attention wherever she went. She always felt like an invisible shadow compared to her vibrant younger sister. Kathleen effortlessly captivates almost everyone she meets with her outgoing personality and charm. Even their parents didn't hide that Kathleen was their favorite child, and it hurt her deeply. Courtney had dedicated 3 years of her life to this relationship, only to be blindsided by this painful betrayal. Her little sister and the man who promised to love her for the rest of her life. Why am I always getting cheated on? Courtney thought as she left the mansion, her world in tatters. But that was just the tip of the iceberg. Mom, Dad! Courtney called out desperately the moment she entered their family mansion. It was a miracle that she was able to drive back home safely amidst the excess tears blurring her vision. This time, as Courtney entered the familiar walls of their house, the silence seemed to suffocate her. She was breaking apart and needed her parents' love and support now more than ever. She couldn't wait to tell them what Kathleen had done so they would realize just how evil she was. She hoped they would take her side and comfort her lovingly. After what seemed like forever, her mother, Margaret Allen, emerged from the living room. Luke Allen, her father, followed closely behind holding his favorite Forbes magazine, his expression stern and grave. Courtney? What's wrong, sweetheart? Margaret asked, her voice filled with worry. Courtney's throat felt tight, and it was hard to find the words to express the pain she was going through. Mommy, Dad, I caught Brandon and Kathleen. I caught them in bed together with my own eyes. They were having an affair behind my back. Courtney finally choked out, her voice trembling with despair as she relived the heart-wrenching moment all over again. She expected shock, disbelief, or even outrage from her parents because she knew them too well. But what she saw on their faces was something entirely different. Margaret's expression displayed a complex mix of sadness and guilt, while Luke's stern gaze remained unwavering, as if he just heard something normal. There was no shock or surprised look on their faces as she expected, only a knowing look that left Courtney confused. She soon realized the painful truth. They already knew. You knew? Neither one of them replied, but the look on their faces gave the answer away. The revelation struck Courtney like a bolt of lightning. She swallowed hard, trying to comprehend the situation unfolding before her. Numerous questions popped into her head while her entire body shook and trembled. How could they have known about the betrayal and not said anything? Was it possible that her parents had been supporting Kathleen, their favorite daughter, to go after her man all along? Tears welled up in her eyes as she struggled to find her voice. How long have you two known? How long have you two known about their affair? Courtney asked again furiously. Calm down, honey. They started seeing each other about 5 months ago. We didn't want to believe it either, but we had to face the truth. We're so sorry, Courtney. Her mother, Margaret, replied casually. Courtney's eyes widened in shock as she screamed. 5 months? It was around the same time she and Brandon started making preparations for their dream wedding that was supposed to happen in 3 weeks. No wonder he was always too busy to give me time and attention these days. I was such a fool, she thought bitterly. Why? How could you keep something like that from me? From your own daughter? We wanted to protect you, darling. We thought it would be better for you to find out when you were ready. Margaret explained softly. Courtney's heart sank further, feeling a pang of betrayal from her parents. Her voice trembled with a mix of anger and hurt. Ready? How could I ever be ready for this? Her whole world had just crumbled, and her dreams of a happily ever after were crushed to the ground. But now, she also had to confront the fact that her own parents had kept this painful secret from her. The betrayal extended beyond Brandon and Kathleen. It involved her parents, too. Courtney, we never condoned what Kathleen and Brandon did, but there's something else you need to know. Kathleen is pregnant for him, too. Her father finally broke his silence. The words hung heavy in the air, amplifying the shock that rushed through Courtney's veins. Her legs grew weak as she held a nearby couch to keep her from falling. She felt as if the ground beneath her had crumbled. Pregnant? Courtney's voice quivered in fright. She felt a mix of shock, betrayal, heartbreak, and confusion. Wait, so you both support this? You're both taking Kathleen's side? Margaret sighed. Courtney, dear, As parents, we have to support Kathleen and consider the well